What's up, y'all? It's 10 at 3 time at Tennessee. How are you? Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us here on this December the 30th. I believe we're going to call this December 30th, 2025.
Yeah, someone called December 30th.
A day, if you're a Tennessee fan, as Ricky Bobby's kids would say, 2 Christmases. You got Tennessee football kicking off at the Music City Bowl against Illinois here in just about 2.5 hours. They're just the middle portion of the state there in Nashville. We've got Emilie and Elijah. They're on scene. They're in Nashville. And if our technology works,
which it should,
or if I don't mess up our technology,
we'll find out.
We should be speaking with them in about half hour. There's also Tennessee basketball to discuss today, although not as much because Tennessee's playing South Carolina State tonight. The Vols are a 44.5-point favorite, so Vegas expecting them to cruise, I believe, in this one, as they probably should. They'll be taking care of that one. And really, I think the only reason the game is still at 8 o'clock and hasn't been moved is because it's on SEC Network proper, so you can't really move that. If this was an SEC Plus game, they could have moved it to, 9 or 3, noon. They could have played it really whenever. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it'll be the largest crowd ever. Now, you don't want to move the time too much because some people have bought tickets for the game and planned trips and all that. But, under no circumstances would Tennessee be intentionally scheduling a football game or a basketball game that's taking place in the second half of a football game, even if, really, if you think about it, the basketball one's the only one that kind of counts. Mm-hmm. It's the much simpler of the two games. Joined here by Tom Barclay, of course. Should have mentioned him straight off the bat. Tommy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I got my coffee over here. We're sitting pretty. It's a great day for some football.
Yeah, it's an unusual day for several reasons. One, this is, I believe, the second time this century that Tennessee's playing a bowl game, and I'm not there on site. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. It's not a bad feeling. It's just weird. It's different because
but it's also in Nashville. Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm not. No,
I get what you mean for sure. Not being on the ground with that one.
When you've been as blessed as I have during my career to cover some of the things I've been able to cover, both covering Tennessee or other schools or professional level events, like I'm not above anything. But the Music City Bowl is not with apologies to the good people, and they are really good people who run that bowl game, and they got big plans for it in the future, and they're going to have it in that nice new stadium pretty soon too. There's a lot of great things about it. It's also just like the Music City Bowl itself, as presently constructed, doesn't really move the meter a lot for me, but that's not the reason why I'm not there. There's a couple reasons why I'm not there. One, had a family box to tick today, and two, 3 reasons, I guess. 2, we got Emilie and Elijah, who are perfectly capable of going and covering that and handling that, and that's what they're doing. And then 3 would be when you have a room like this and you've invested in a room like this, you're not gonna not use it, right? Like you're not gonna not use an environment like this to do things on a game day. And I was even thinking today on the way in here, because I was peeling into the parking lot, right, basically, which is not normal, was peeling into the parking lot just as we were starting this. In fact, ran into good old Johnny Be Good, John Becker, Mr. Jawline himself.
He told me that you're coming in here. He's like, I saw him out there. He's coming in here in a moment.
Saw him in the parking lot, and he was like, so, doesn't your show start in about 2 minutes? I was like, you know what? It sure does. And
we made it 3.
He was like, and he basically said, he's like, well, welcome. He's like, now officially welcome to the TV business. It's like, John, I've never seen you pulling in 2 minutes before y'all go live at 5:30 or 6 or. He was like, it's happened.
I would say he's just that good.
Yeah, he just strolls in. It just happens. But the magic.
You'll never know.
The magic happens when John walks in the room, right? But it's. So I've joked before, and it's normal that on a Tuesday, because that's normally when we have our sports meeting. Of course, today we didn't have it for many reasons, because most of the staff is in Nashville. But Tuesday's normally the day where we walk in, a little bit, like hesitant, like right before we go, like right before we get in, like right before we go live. It's like we're rolling right in as we go. And look at that.
I know. Here,
Our technology is almost. Look at that. It's starting to work. Do we see them out there?
Yeah, we can see them on the screen right now. There they go. They're getting ready, setting up out there.
Hey, if y'all can hear us, you be nice out there.
I don't think they can hear us yet. We got to call them first.
Don't be. Look at that. Elijah's got his glasses on today. Look at these two. Look at these two.
It's a chilly day out there, but they look ready for some football too. This is like very classic.
Yeah. No wonder that they were on point today, man. They were ready to go. Just so you know, the reason that since not all heroes wear capes, the reason that we're able to go to them today is because I charged the batteries last night.
There you go.
To make sure all the cameras were good to go, everything. Made sure everything was charged. Now I did that because Emilie asked me to, but again, not all heroes wear capes, and so went in there and got that done. We're going to go to them in a minute, just kind of get the vibe, kind of see what they've been able to see walking around through town today. You would expect this to be a game where you see more Tennessee fans than Illinois fans. Like you would expect that, right? That to me is an obvious thing. However, maybe some Illinois fans, you'll see more of them the past couple of days because they've come in town, they're doing stuff, whereas Tennessee fans are like, we're just coming on game day, right? Like that just kind of makes sense. And also the fact is, I think Illinois is probably a little bit more excited than Tennessee is to be in this game. Now, Illinois also was a team that thought it could get to the college football playoff this season, and it wasn't able to do it. But same story as Tennessee in that way. But it's a little different. It's a little different. Tennessee absolutely controlled its destiny, absolutely had a chance to just do what was in front of it, win games that were right there to be won, and it's sitting there in the college football playoff most likely. That's not the case with Illinois because Illinois obviously controlled its destiny, but it wasn't really competitive in the games. Tennessee had one uncompetitive loss all season. Illinois had 3/4 of them. It's a little different. Tennessee doesn't have any 63-10s or whatever that Indiana game was on the resume. And there's a lot of reasons why this is a really interesting game. I would expect Tennessee to have a bit more of the crowd probably in its favor, as you would probably imagine. But I think there's some Illinois people who are pretty excited to be there. Let's not forget, I believe 18 wins. I think 18 wins in the past 2 seasons for Illinois. I do believe that is it ties a program record. It's a basketball school. We all know this. Historically, Illinois is a basketball school. And of course, Mr. from Mizzou over here would be someone to happily tell you that
Mr. from Mizzou wearing his Gamecocks hat.
A lot of people have a lot of people have different.
I got split loyalties.
You got split loyalties, right?
I got loyalty by birth here, South Carolina.
That's fine.
And then loyalty by alma mater.
That's right. There's a lot of people who do that, right? You got the where you're from, your home. You got the other ones, and I think we're going to go to those two.
Yeah, in about
those
5
two,
minutes.
Those two cats you see back there in about 5 minutes. We're going to get to them.
Yeah, let's take a check in on them right now. Oh, checking the phone there. I wonder if they know.
Do you think they know we're going to them in about 5 minutes?
No, they know because they're the ones who told me they were going to be out there in 15. So
okay, well they told me earlier today that it was going to be 3:30. So we're going live right now to check all this. We're going to get to them in just a few minutes here.
They're looking snazzy out there.
But I would say that this is a game, and we're going to talk about the keys later because I've got 3 or 4 pretty consistent keys to the game. Also going to talk about some things that are at stake for Tennessee. You might
we may actually have maybe getting on the line here shortly. So
there you go.
So stand by. You may be getting a call here.
Is Emilie going to go live right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. Hey, Emilie, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
All right.
We are now live
Look
to
at
them.
that.
Look at those two right there with beautiful LP. Is it still LP Field? Look back there. No, it's Nissan Stadium now. Nissan Stadium. See, it's not even going to be there in a year.
It's Nissan.
Right? It's still Nissan. Turn right behind you. Yes, it still says Nissan.
The new Nissan Stadium is right next to us, actually. The new stadium being built is significantly bigger, actually. We were pulling up to both of them, and we're like, wow, there's 2 massive stadiums right next to each other, and we're like, which one do we go to? Because this is Elijah and I's first time actually being here at Nissan Stadium, so should be a good one.
So you got a little stadium envy looking over at the new place next door and being like, it'd be a lot warmer inside today.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a retractable roof for that stadium, but I think they will. I'm not sure. I got to look into that, but I know there'll be a Super Bowl there. That's why they're building that stuff, so they can have a Super Bowl. So I'm assuming that they will have a retractable roof.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, look at the view behind us. If we step out of the way, I don't know if you guys can see it. They've got Tennessee in one end zone. I know Tennessee fans on Twitter were, making a little bit of noise about how there aren't checkerboards in the end zone. And then, of course, Illinois is on the other side. And it says Music City Bowl. So very exciting. And then you can see the Music City Bowl logo behind us as well. But yeah, it should be a good one tonight inside at Nissan Stadium, Wes. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and what's interesting is this won't matter for y'all because you'll be down on the field, I presume, shooting things. But that's actually got one of the best press box views, I think, in all of sports is in that stadium. In terms of like the riding press, it's very low to the ground, and it's kind of right there around the 50. I mean, some of the only places I can think that are comparable, maybe Sanford Stadium at Georgia, the old one they used to have there for years. Now they've moved it up into the corner like everyone has. But there's just not a lot of places where you would get the view that you would get in there. And it looks, it looks nice outside today. At least the sun is out, but I'm guessing where I am inside right now is a little warmer than it is right there. What's the game time temperature? Like right around freezing?
It is freezing, man. I know it's going to get worse tonight, but it's getting there. It's getting there. But I can tell you this, though. The press box was amazing. The food made Emilie feel like at home because they had cheesesteaks.
They had Philly cheesesteaks with peppers and onions. It was great. No seated roll, but it'll do because we're in Nashville. But
No
a good time.
No
A good time for sure.
No cheese
whiz.
whiz.
The cheese was built into the cheesesteak, which can sometimes be good. But you know me, I'm very critical, and I was just back home with multiple cheesesteaks in my hand. So comparing those two is a little iffy. But it was nice because we did get to go up to the press box, and like you said, it was a great view, very low to the field, like you mentioned. But we went up just solely for the food, and then we had to come back down, set up, and then we got kicked off the field, and now we're on the concourse, which honestly is a much better view. So
I think so as well. And I want to go back up there if we do have time. They have blueberry cobbler. Now, I know you like blueberries. I really don't care for blueberries, but that one looked pretty good. So I definitely want to go up there and give it a try. But it seems like the players are walking on the field now, so I may not have enough time. But we'll see.
I guess next.
Yeah, Wes, let's talk some game, huh?
Yeah, I was about to say in a few months here, I'm gonna when it's blueberry time, I'm picking everything out of the yard and bringing it to everybody at the office. Elijah's not gonna get it, I guess he doesn't care. But when you look at this, just kind of the scene around there today, guys. What as you were kind of driving into the stadium, getting to the lots, I imagine, normally Tennessee's not playing another team that's orange, so Tennessee's orange is still much different from Illinois' orange, so it's, I would guess, a much brighter shade of orange. Normally, though, it's a little easier to tell. From what you could see, I mean, talk percentages here. What's the vibe? Is it a lot more Tennessee orange than Illinois orange? What have y'all seen?
To kind of go back to the orange scheme before I answer that question, it's interesting, too, because Tennessee started their season playing a non-conference opponent against another team that wears orange, and now they're ending their season finale playing Illinois. So Syracuse, Illinois, two different shades of orange. But we did stop at a Buc-ee's on the way here, the one in Crossville, I believe, and there was a ton of Tennessee fans, a lot more checkers than usual in Buc-ee's. So there was a lot of Tennessee fans traveling to Nissan Stadium for this game today. But honestly, we haven't seen too many fans. I mean, at Will Call, there was a few when we were getting our credentials. But other than that, this stadium, obviously, I don't think they're letting people in just yet. But, the vibe outside of it, there was not too many people, and it was kind of hard to distinguish the two oranges, because if you don't put them right next to each other, they're kind of hard to tell, that it's a different shade.
I expect a lot of interceptions because they don't know what orange to throw to today. No, I'm playing. But no,
it's windy,
like
too.
Tim said, it wasn't a lot of fans that we've seen yet. Very windy. So I guess the Windy City advantage will help Illinois here today.
You would
Who
think
knows,
so,
right?
probably. That's a really good point. You know what? That's why we pay y'all the big bucks. That's a really good. You picked up on that Windy City.
They're sportos, meteorologists. They got it all covered.
Listen, they're not Northwestern, but they're just a train ride down there from Chicago. They're right there. There's a lot of Chicago, a lot of Chicago people down there, and Champaign Urbana at the school. But in terms of guys, the vibe for Tennessee going into this game, we know it's not a college football playoff game, right? Like when you go into a season and you think you have a good chance to be in the college football playoff, and then the season plays out and you absolutely do have a really good chance to go to the playoff, and then it doesn't happen. I'm always fascinated to see kind of how a team responds to that. Because in the playoff era now, guys, there's no guarantee that a lot of your teams are even going to want to play in the game. Tennessee's had some high-profile opt-outs. All of them, to me, make sense. In terms of the preparation, the vibe, like what do you expect to see from Tennessee today?
I expect them to ball out like they usually do, honestly, because I feel like, this team has a close bond with one another. So I think that they're going to finish out the way they want to. We saw a post on Instagram with some people saying last ride together, and I saw other people posting pictures with other teammates saying, one last time, and we want to go out with a bang, and they want to. So it shows that they're going to still treat this like a regular game, especially with a lot of young talent on this team that we all seen throughout the year. So I just can't wait to see how that plays out for them in 4 quarters.
It's also interesting, too, because I feel like a loss for Tennessee in this one probably feels more significant than a win, kind of, because, if you lose, there's going to be a lot of fans harping on the way you end your season.
Right.
But if you win, it's kind of like, okay, maybe this was written in the story this is the way we should have ended the season.
Yeah.
This is how it's all going to come full circle, with a win and, not ending your season with a loss. But I do feel like the vibes this whole week were kind of a little bizarre. I mean, you kind of come off of a first ever appearance in a college football playoff last season for Tennessee, and that's what fans want to see every year. Tennessee wants to be a program that can compete for a national championship every single season. Mm-hmm. So when you kind of take a step back and, you can look at the offense, you can look at defensively where they were this season, not the same as years prior, under Tim Banks at least. It's a little bit different, and the vibes were certainly just kind of not a whatever mentality, obviously, of both sides of the fan base, but at the same time, you can kind of feel, not from the players and the program, but more so the fan base, that this one is kind of just like, if you lose, it's a big deal, but if you win, it's kind of, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we can move on now. Let's move on to next season.
I agree with Emilie wholeheartedly there, because I just feel like, the way you end your season is the way you want to look. You want to look forward to next year, especially when you got Jim Knowles coming in and a lot of young talent on that defense. He's looking at where he could build that. A lot of offensive players are coming back with David Sanders, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, and if Joey Aguilar could come back. But if not, what happens if somebody's in the portal that they're looking at and they want to see how this offense look?
Put a good film together.
Put a good film together. So, again, you never know. You want to put that stuff together and just end the season the way that you want to. And I think Tennessee is determined to do that. So we'll see how that looks. But I don't know if you guys see it, but the wind is tackling Emilie right now.
Me.
Yeah, I can hear it clanging something in the background there, like a flagpole.
Do you have do you have string and tent stakes? You might need to stake her down or tie her down to that column there behind you, because I'm telling you, if the wind gets a little bit higher it might blow her onto the field. I'm telling you. How far of a drop is that?
It might blow me away. Yeah, and
how far of a drop are we talking about behind you?
It's not too bad.
Survivable, you would say?
Nissan Stadium isn't that... Yeah, definitely survivable.
Okay, well then, I mean,
I'm tough. I have a black belt.
Then
Did
both
you
of
know
y'all
this?
stay in the shot. Then both of y'all stay in the shot. If it's survivable, I mean that was the
Ooh,
one
they're
thing I was
getting.
concerned about.
Oh, I hear that.
We can handle injuries.
I
we
can
can handle
survive
serious
with
things we
with
can't.
this music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And something I can also survive this music. They're playing Survive Better with this music. They're playing. It's a Music City Bowl. Come on, the vibes.
Yeah.
The vibes are high here in Nissan Stadium.
And Emilie was in control of the music the whole way here.
Oh.
Her vibes are up to the roof.
Yeah.
So Tennessee has a lot to.
You can.
The driver gets the aux cord. Right?
You
driver
can.
gets the aux cord.
You would think.
You would think.
Whoa,
You
passenger
would think.
princess.
I
got
actually
the aux
did
cord?
not drive. I know. I typically.
What kind of operation are we running
He's
here?
the
Just because she
passenger
organizes
princess.
everything for us, she gets to pick the music even when she's not driving?
And you know what? Elijah, he was the perfect driving partner to be with, because every single song he was like, all right, yeah, I like it. All right, I can give this one a try.
He's very low maintenance.
Bunch of different artists and stuff, but he's low maintenance. It's the best person to travel with is pretty nice.
And
you guys hear
that's
that?
okay.
We got some Ed Sheeran going on right now.
Those of us who are sitting here and are not there will not be offended that you said that. That's okay. We won't take that personally. But when you look at this game, guys, there are so many. We know that Tennessee, right? We know Illinois got a couple guys who are not going to play in this game. Tennessee has more. We know that, right? You're taking at least 5 pretty darn good defensive players away from a defense that was not very great to begin with, and that's some of the best players on that defense are not there in this game. And I guess with Brazel out, of course, that's a guy who takes the top off the defense. That matters, and that's important. But on defense in particular, I am fascinated to see how Tennessee handles this, because Luke Altmaier is a good quarterback. They don't take a lot of downfield shots there, but they have a good passing game. And Tennessee, at all three levels of the defense, has at least one really good defender who won't be there. So when you put those two things together, you go, ugh. I mean, it's not a great sounding thing when you put it out there like that. But what do y'all expect to see from the defense?
Well, Wes, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying this in a rude way, but who cares at this point? You want to know why? Because this whole season has always been next man up for Tennessee, right? So this next man up mentality has always been there. So if William Wright's out there, I know they got faith in William Wright. If they have another pass rusher we probably never heard of or we didn't see, then they're going to believe in him. They got Pulati out there, they're going to believe in him. They're going to believe in whoever is out there wearing and repping that orange and white, because that's what they had done all year. You know, their motto was young guys didn't have time to be young, and this is the perfect chance for them right now to show that, you know, next season can be their spot to lose if going into camp, because next year the roster may look a little different, but who cares? And right now, that's what it looked like for them right now. Who cares? We're going to play our brand of football, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, and Wes, you mentioned that they're losing a leader in every single phase of this defense. You talk about...
That's your song.
It's my song.
Wow, they're blasting it out there.
You talk about
That's their fault, not ours. Whatever.
Colton
copyright,
Hood at corner, obviously. I know. All right, let me make my point. I'm sorry. God.
No, it's a vibe.
How dare the
Don't
Music
worry.
City Bowl have
This show is a vibe.
music
Just
in
don't
it?
worry. You're good. You're good. Go on. Whenever you're ready.
But I was going to say, you mentioned losing a leading defender at every single phase of this defense. Colton Hood at corner, Arion Carter in that linebacker position, and then of course you got Joshua Josephs at edge rusher. So when you look at all that, there are key pieces still left on the defensive side of the ball who we have seen prove themselves under these leaders on the defensive side. Like you said, Pulati, of course. William Wright, one more shot to really wrap his career with a bow tie, right? He started his career in a Music City Bowl. He didn't play in it, but he first saw action in 2021, that same season. He didn't see time in a Music City Bowl in that year, but he gets to play today.
Exactly.
And we've seen him make plays all year long. We talk about that interception, pick six, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember which game it was, but yes,
Yeah, you go.
absolutely. So we saw him make big play games there. But, you talk about, like Elijah said, next man up. So obviously all those guys declaring for the NFL draft as well. So we wish them the best of luck. But at the end of the day, Tennessee wants to go out and still play the game that they love. Also, you talk about not, believing in the significance of a bowl game. But at the end of the day, if these players really love to play football, they're going to give it their best effort because it's the game they love and they've got one more shot at it this season.
Yeah, and obviously you would rather be, when you think about the way you want to end your career, right? You say, I want to win the national championship. I want confetti raining down on me and all these things. But it doesn't work out that way for a lot of people. In fact, for most people, most teams, that's not how it goes. There are other things, though. Like you just mentioned William Wright, and I'm glad you did, because that's a guy who I assume, I don't want to assume, but I'm guessing he's probably going to start in this game for different reasons. I don't know how much he'll play, but he should be starting and maybe playing a lot of it. And you mentioned him starting his career there in the Music City Bowl, getting to dress for Tennessee, getting to be out there in that game. And he's a walk-on. This is his final season. He's from Nashville. So if he were to go make a big play in this game, I mean, you got to think, like, number one on the list would be, like, confetti raining down on you as a champion. Number two, making a big play in your hometown, that's got to be up there.
Game, yeah. Inside Nissan Stadium as well, like you mentioned, he's from Nashville. Obviously came on as a walk-on. Been on the team, one of, I think, 2 or 3 players on Tennessee's roster that have been a part of this program for 6 years, since 2020. I mean, I was in college in 2020, so we can't be too different in age, when you talk about how, experienced he is with this Tennessee team. So it's cool to see him stick with the program. You don't see too many players nowadays stick with the same program. And if he were to make a big play in this one, I mean, that'd probably be one of the biggest stories of the game.
He's probably a Titans fan, so this is probably like a dream come true. I don't know if he's a Titans fan. Don't quote me on that. But he
now if you talk to him after the game, you got to ask him.
And also, We will. Well, hopefully, we'll fingers crossed he'll make a big play against Illinois in this one.
Yeah.
But Wes, you talk about the significance of this bowl game. There are still some bright spots, even though this team isn't playing in a college football playoff. This is the way they end their season. William Wright is a perfect example, but there are so many other reasons for specific players why this game is important. Elijah mentioned putting things on film. Joey Aguilar could potentially break a few records today. Deshaun Bishop could reach 1,000 yards on the season as well. So there are a lot of bright spots in this one where Tennessee could make this an impactful game for specific players.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to that. And I think, it's funny if you ask somebody if they're a Titans fan, they might be a little bit like Homer Simpson in the bushes, kind of backing into it as a Titans fan these days. Like, hey, maybe Cam Ward's going to get the thing turned around. Maybe it'll get better. But in all seriousness, I guess before we let y'all out of here, you did mention some of the things that could happen in this game. I'll talk about those more specifically later with specific numbers. But you mentioned off the top, Joey Aguilar could end a season at Tennessee that obviously he wanted to be in the playoff. But you're still talking about a guy who at one point, almost quit football to become a firefighter. He was a JUCO walk-on. He has to earn the different spot at like 3 or 4 different colleges when he transfers there. He goes to UCLA, and he's going to get a nice payday, and he's going to get to start for UCLA. And then they say, no, wait, we want Nico. And then so he goes, what do I do? Goes across the country to the place Nico left, and he might take Tennessee to 9 wins, and he might be Tennessee's all-time single-season leader in total offense and passing yards. He could pass a guy by the name of Peyton Manning for both of those awards today. So, you can't knock a gear like that.
Wes, 376.
Yes. And I think it's 224 of total offense or 242 of total offense. So, but what a way to break.
Yeah, and that to again put a bow tie on this season, as you mentioned, for Joey Aguilar. Tennessee didn't know who their quarterback was going to be in the beginning of this season. He comes in April and just everybody falls in love with him and his family, and he's proven himself on the field as well. So it's been great to see his development and to surpass some records that Peyton Manning set back in 1997 would be a way to go out for Joey Aguilar.
Ooh, I was 2 years old then.
Even I was not in college in 1997. Now a few years after that I was in college, but in 1997 I was still in high school at that point. So now I feel really old and I should stop talking. But before we let y'all out of here, thank you so much for being with us today. Before we get you out, though, I don't want to put you on the spot, so don't be specific unless you really feel it. What are your thoughts on the game today? What's your gut telling you? What do you think?
Like a score prediction?
Sure, why not?
I think Tennessee puts up a lot of points in this one. I go, hey, this is high. I don't care. 56 to 42.
Okay. That's like a basketball game.
That would be
a fun one to watch.
That might be
Depends
more
on
points.
what team you are.
That might be more points than South Carolina State scores against Tennessee basketball tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see. Emily, you got any?
That's crazy.
Where are you on this, Emily? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if Tennessee leans on the players that have shown and proven themselves this season, you talk about Joey Aguilar connecting with Braylon Staley a lot in this game, finding the receivers who he's been able to connect with throughout the course of the year. Obviously, Chris Browsel's not out there, but offensively, I do think Tennessee still has returners. We don't know if Miles Kitzelman is going to be playing in this one, but there was a post that Ethan Davis posted, a picture of 2 of them on his Instagram, and it did say one last ride. So it's unclear if Miles is going to play today, but it seems like potentially we could see him in this one, which would be very significant considering he wasn't able to play the last few games due to an injury. So that would be really cool to see him if he's able to play. But like I mentioned, just Tennessee needs to lean on the guys they've been using all season who have not opted out of this bowl game. And I think that they will be able to take care of business if they do so. My score prediction is going to be 48 to 35.
There we go.
Tennessee.
Shoot for the sky, Em.
Shoot for the
There
sky.
you go.
I think we're hitting the 40s with
Y'all are
Tennessee.
smashing the over today. You're smashing it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Both of you, thank you. Safe travels. Enjoy the game. Safe travels back. And please, before the game starts, Elijah, I'm pretty sure they got a weight room down there. Will you go get a kettlebell and some string and tie it to Emilie if she's going to be down there on the field shooting the game. If the wind's picking up, we can't have we don't want workers' comp suits here. Will you make sure she gets tied down?
Yeah,
But before we go, you talk about, breaking into a weight room. We actually broke into Nissan Stadium.
We did.
Nice.
We got in.
I like
We didn't do it intentionally, but the security checked all of our stuff before we had gotten our credentials. So we go up to the floor, the field level or whatever, and we've got all of our equipment, and they're like, well, where's your credential? We have to go all the way back outside to go to will call because we did everything out of order. So we snuck in. That's a bucket list to sneak into Nissan Stadium.
Never been done before.
But honestly, everybody here has been great so far. We love a good bowl game, and this is my first bowl game experience. Is this your first bowl game experience?
No, I've been to the Sugar Bowl twice, and I've been to the New Orleans Bowl.
Awesome.
But this is way different than the other two that I've been to. So.
Yeah. So Wes, we're excited. Thanks for having us on. I'm sure we will chat with you later.
Yes, we will. We'll see y'all later. Have fun, guys. We'll see you. Thanks again. And that was Emilie and Elijah. Good people. Just good people. Good professionals. Really hope that Emilie doesn't fly away today.
Yeah, it is pretty windy.
That hair,
you got to admit.
That hair was just, it's just,
I'm sure
there's a lot of it. I'm like, you got to like tie it up or something. Like, I'm a little concerned about the physical safety. I mean, but then again, these are obviously two burglars. So, I mean, they'll break and enter. They don't care. They just did it today, right?
I don't know if that counts technically. That just feels like a credentialing.
All I heard,
quirk of credentials.
I heard breaking in. So if I hear them say break in and I can see that they've entered, that
minor
sounds to me like literally breaking and entering. That's
sounds
what it
like
sounds like.
They were let in, and there was just a little miscommunication with the credentials.
Potato.
It happens.
Potato. But no, I'm glad that they brought up a couple of those things I was going to mention tonight, because we talked yesterday about just how important this game was or wasn't for Tennessee. Just frankly, it's not. And I'm still on team, like, I don't think it's that important for Tennessee. I think you want to go out there and play well. You probably feel a little better if you won the game. But then again, I think that I don't think it would have an impact. But if there's a chance that losing this game would be a little bit more kind of spur into the leg going into the offseason to kind of get things righted. And, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe you shouldn't feel too great. Because of what happened against Vanderbilt at the end of that season, things that were left on the table this season. We're not saying, you're worthless. That's not what's being said here. What's being said here is there's part of my brain that keeps thinking, would it in fact arguably, debatably, possibly, potentially be better to just know that you're going into the offseason on a little bit of a, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of it. I don't know. I mean, some people would say they would work better based on good vibes, right? Like, everyone is different, and that's what's got to be so there's a million things that are so difficult about being a coach. But then especially different sports have different sort of challenges. In basketball, you've got, anywhere between 13, 16 people, whatever, in your locker room, 17 tops maybe, including walk-ons. So you can recruit. It's a little easier to recruit specific types of people and have them fit into your culture. And so you get people that are like-minded, that have, somewhat comparable motivational tactics work against all of them. It's just easier to kind of manage the personality of a program when you're in a sport like that. Football, you've got 120 guys. You got 120 guys traditionally between the ages of 18 and 22. Now, who knows, sometimes much older than that, but so you're still talking, and occasionally a 17-year-old, but most of the time you're talking 18 to 22-year-olds. And you got 120 young men between the ages of 18 and 22, who I still think are kids. and they come from all over the country. They come from all different backgrounds, socioeconomic, big city, rural, very wealthy, impoverished. You get guys who could have gotten into Harvard. You got guys who maybe if they weren't really good at a sport may not be at a university like Tennessee because they may not be able to get in. You've got the full gamut of guys from all over the place, and you've just got so many of them that you have to find, each person's got to find their own why, their own motivation. But there are some kind of things culturally you need as a program a little bit, right? Like there's some things that, and it's just easier when you find what works the most effectively for the largest percentage of people you have working for you or playing for you. Because you can't, like, you can try to recruit to a culture, you can try to recruit to a system, but both athletically and, just to be honest, psychologically, people change during college. I think that unless you've been put in a really bad situation in life, you usually don't know who you are. I think minimum mid-20s. You start to learn a little bit about, wait, who am I really? Because sometimes situations force people to develop faster. They get thrown into the world a little earlier. Let's say if you go directly into the military from high school, right? Even if your goal to do that is to eventually go back to school and do some things, like you're being thrown into a situation where you're going to have to take care of some stuff like an adult pretty quickly. Or I would say, if you're, if both of your parents are not in your life or they've passed away, like my dad, both his parents passed away before he was 14 years old. Like that, that forces you to grow up. But for most people who are fortunate enough to at least, go to school a little bit after high school, those years, you enter those years thinking a certain type of way about yourself and who you are. And 4 years later or 5 years later, whatever it is, Tommy Boy 7 years later, or, I guess modern college athlete 7 years later, you might have a completely different idea about who you are and what motivates you and what's important in your life. And it's kind of a process. So even if you try to recruit to a certain type of personality, you can't really guarantee that it's going to stay that way. And so finding what motivates people is a challenge. And I think there might be some guys on this team who, if Tennessee lost this game, they might have a better season next year. They might have a better offseason. They might be more motivated. And there are some guys who they kind of need to run on good vibes. So they're going to have a better season next year. They're going to have a better offseason. They're going to be more mentally activated, more mentally dialed in, psychologically, physically dialed in. That they might say, you know what, I'm going to put down the PlayStation controller tonight. I'm going to watch a little more tape. Or, you know what, I really would like to eat about a gallon of ice cream right now, but instead I'm going to have maybe a little bit of Greek yogurt, So, you know what I mean? Like, just they might be more inclined to do things like that if they had good vibes going into it. And then you have some people who might need a kind of a kick in the teeth to do that. The kind of kick in the teeth that only comes from losing. And that's where it would be helpful to know more personally about some of these guys, but that's Josh Heupel's job. I mean, and his position coaches, they got to figure out what motivates these guys and what gets them going. And for them, I mean, let's not forget, Heupel's got some skin in this game today too. Not the biggest deal. Not the biggest deal. If Tennessee wins this game, that would be the 9th or more win in each of the past 4 seasons. There is one other coach, active coach in the SEC, who's been in the league that long, who's got a current active streak like that. His name is Kirby Smart. The only other one. And technically, Kalen DeBoer counts. He was at Washington before he came to Alabama. So if you're talking just SEC play the past 4 seasons, Heupel wins today. He and Smart are the only ones with at least 9 wins every season. If you count Kalen DeBoer, and I think you could go either way on that. Certainly his last Washington team, played for a natty. They were pretty good. So yeah, they'd qualify. So, yeah, they'd be the only coaches who have done that. And also, if Tennessee wins this game, that would, I believe, be the 39th win maybe in the past 4 seasons, if my math is right, which is always a risky proposition there. But if that's the case, that would tie the best 4-year stretch for Tennessee football this century. And that's not nothing. Let's not forget that in 2001, Tennessee's almost playing for a natty. And that would have been the last time Tennessee had a 4-year stretch with this many wins, 2001 to 2004. So, yeah, I mean, those things look nice on a media guide. They look nice on your CV. That, those things matter. Now, do they matter in the big picture? Maybe not directly, but indirectly it could. Yeah, keep some momentum going. If it feels like you've generated momentum, that's a good thing. If there's also the lines that I talked about today in terms of the other numbers, if Joey Aguilar has 376 passing yards, he will pass Peyton Manning, I believe, for the number 1 all-time passing yard season in program history. And if he gets 242 yards of total offense today, I guess rushing, passing combo, then he would have 200. He'd also be the leader in total offense in a season at Tennessee. And you might think, why? That doesn't that seem a little weird? You need this for that for that? No, because some quarterbacks run more than others, and it affects statistics and all these things. And sacks also go against a quarterback's like personal rushing numbers, which are kind of stupid, but that's how it is. NFL, someone asked me last week, Tom, about a rule, if I could pick just one rule from college to the NFL that I absolutely would change. And I thought about the kickoff rule because that's interesting. And I kind of, the NFL way is growing on me there. But I don't care enough that it would automatically be number 1 for me. Another good question was pass interference. Like, do you like the NFLs or colleges? And I'm like, well, actually, I think the NFL one's a little too punitive and the college one's a little not punitive enough. It's a little soft. So I don't know which one I prefer more. Maybe the college one, because the NFL, you can run into your feet can tangle and the team gets 50 yards as a result of a ball that maybe wasn't really catchable to begin with. That seems harsh. So I don't know about that, but what I do know, one thing, sacks should not count against a quarterback's individual rushing yards, especially in this era where quarterback rushing yards matter a lot again. It used to be you were either a drop back guy or you were, like a service academy kind of option running guy. Well, now there's this whole other category of guys who do things a little differently. And so that number tells you a lot more now. So I shouldn't have to hear another thing about sack adjusted rushing yards. Because if a quarterback runs, let's say he gets 50 yards on 10 carries in a game, and you go, if you could just see that number, you'd be like, man, that's good. Now, let's say he gets sacked 7 times for a loss of 51 yards. You look at that, and at the end of the game, it says this quarterback had -1 rushing yards. I mean, there's lies, there's dang lies in their statistics. I mean, that's a heinous lie. Saying that quarterback had -1 rushing yards in that game is it's intellectually dishonest and stupid. And I don't know why they won't just go ahead and take that away from a team's passing yards, because it was supposed to be a passing play and you got minus yards. So you know what it is? It's a team lost yardage passing play. That's what it is. End speech. But Tennessee does have some things going into this game that do matter. Maybe not in terms of like that important, but they're nice things to have. And the line, by the way, yesterday when we were speaking, I said it had only gone from 2.5 to 3. And then last night it went up to 3.5. Today come back down to 3.0. At least it was 30 minutes ago. And so it's kind of stayed about where it is, despite a vast majority of the bets, at least on DraftKings, going for Tennessee. Last I saw was 85-15 in terms of the bets going for Tennessee versus for Illinois in that one. But when you see that and the line's not moving, you're like, either a bunch of sharps are putting money on that, or Vegas just thinks we're about to make so much money off of you guys. Vegas is like, oh, you guys just keep putting money on Tennessee, and we are not moving this line because we want you fools to keep betting money on Tennessee because you're betting on the name, and we've crunched this, and we know what's about to happen, and you are about to take a bath, and we are going to be rolling in dough. That's what in my mind, that's the first place when I see a line not moving despite that many bets, then they're either a whole bunch of bets are going against, like all the small ones are going to Tennessee, but the big ones are going to Illinois, so they're not moving the line. Could be a lot of different things at play there. But what will impact the game? You could, some people, when they say keys to a game, they'll say 3 keys, they'll say 5 keys, they'll say just keys, and then every game has a different number of keys to the game. I thought for this game of 3 that seemed pretty important to me. Now, when you do these things, you could always say, hey, turnover margin, that's going to be important. Well, duh.
I mean,
that's almost like saying
if they score more points than the other team,
they
may win. You never know.
Yeah, the only more indicative stat is like the only more important consistent stat is the team with more points at the end of the game wins 100% of the time.
Typically.
In football, yes, especially.
Typically, yes.
There'd be some fudgy accounting if something was going on. There'd be some shoddy accounting practices would be at play there. So I don't like to mention like turnover margin because that's pretty clear. That's like saying the biggest key to the game is the points. Yes, it is. So I don't like to go there. But I will say I thought of 3 things. Number 1 for me was starting fast because Illinois has a passing game. Its passing game is a little better than its running game, but it's not like an consistently explosive Illinois passing attack. Now, maybe against this Tennessee defense, hey, we'll see, right? Even Kentucky looked pretty darn good throwing the ball against Tennessee at times this season. But Illinois' pass, a lot of it's dictated off play action, which means you're consistently able to get at least maybe 4 yards a carry and feel pretty good about things. And that means you've got the score at a point where you feel like you've got the whole menu to play with offensively. If Tennessee can start fast, it's really hard to come back on Tennessee if they get a big lead on you. And I think that makes Illinois play a game it's not comfortable playing. And so that, to me, if you're Tennessee and you can get one of those really, really quick lightning strike Heupel starts, that would be nice. Because Illinois has seen some tempo, and now they've had a month to prepare, 3 weeks to prepare for it. But still, the way Tennessee runs it, it's different. You can't – you would need a full offseason to have guys as good as Tennessee run a system as well as Tennessee runs it to give your defense a good enough look. And if you're doing that, then the only people who can do that are your own offense. And so they'd be wasting their time to start working on this stuff. So the beauty of Tennessee's offense in some ways, why it takes people to adjust to it, it's because it's a shock to the senses. You just don't see anything quite like it. Because the whole thing is just, it's risky, but it's not. Because Tennessee spreads the field, and it keeps pressure on you down the field. Like, you've consistently got to worry about the top getting taken off. So the field is stretched as far as it can be horizontally and vertically, and they're making you play in space. And so the whole thing's just designed to make the defense uncomfortable the whole game. And if Tennessee can get out to one of those starts where they do that, I think that helps Tennessee quite a bit. And that leads me to number 2, which is Tennessee stretch the field without Chris Brazzell II. Now, Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, great. I think Staley especially is an absolute star. And I think Matthews could become one. He's athletic enough to do it. But the role Brazzell plays in that offense, he so consistently makes people worried about the top getting taken off behind them. And that stretches the defense back. So that gets to what I mentioned earlier, Tennessee stretching the field horizontally and vertically. The more Tennessee stretches the field, the more uncomfortable you are as a defense. And so without Brazzell there, how will Tennessee kind of get the field stretched? Because they're going to take shots. And Staley and Matthews can go do that, but Brazzell is very, very elite at getting downfield, being 6'5", fast, athletic, and high pointing the ball and making tough catches. he makes you really nervous as a defense. So without him out there, are they going to take some shots downfield to Ethan Davis, the tight end? Are they going to, hey, get Travis Smith Jr., Rodarius Jackson, those freshmen, get them involved in it? Or are they just going to say, you know what, Mike Matthews, buddy, you don't always catch the ball, but when you do, you make big plays. So we're going to throw you the ball, and we need you to catch it. Especially on a cold day like today, windy day. That's tough for deep balls, but Tennessee's got to be able to sustain those. At least hit a few. You just have to hit a couple. If you hit a couple of them, then a defense is worried about it every play. And if they're worried about it every play, they're backing up and they're giving you all the space you want to run the ball and throw inside passes over the middle, and you can take 5 to 15 yards of play without sweating. So that is a huge, huge component for Tennessee today. I'm not saying Tennessee can't win the game without doing that, but I think it's much harder for Tennessee to win this game if it doesn't do that. Then number 3 for me is also, now this one's even more imperative. Create havoc on defense. There's a few reasons I say that. One is that even if Tennessee had been able to put most all of its guys out there defensively, that's not been a consistently great defense this season. It does give up plays. So as a defense, if you're going to give up plays, what do you got to do? Got to make big plays of your own. If you're going to give up points and yards, you got to create some turnovers. You got to get in the backfield. You got to have some TFLs. You got to have some sacks. And if you don't have that, then you better be really, really good at keeping everybody in front of you. That's not what this Tennessee team does great defensively. It just doesn't do that. So it doesn't usually do that. So I think with those guys out, Illinois gives up sacks. Even with its starting left tackle, who's not going to play in this game, even with that guy there who's a pretty good player, Illinois gave up 31 sacks or something this season, a bunch of sacks. And Tennessee, even without Joseph in there, has edge guys who can get back there and create havoc. It's got, Perlotti, the linebacker, can get in there too. Tennessee's got some guys who can get there, push the pocket, flush you, make you uncomfortable. Tennessee's got to get in the backfield. It's got to create havoc. It's got to get some, if not turnovers, and they would be great, but at least get, 6, 7 TFLs. Get back into the backfield, blow things up, get vertical, create havoc. Because if they don't do that in this game, then they absolutely will have to score 40 points to win if they don't do that. I don't see another scenario. I don't know if this is like Iowa a couple years ago where Iowa never had a chance. This team's got a good quarterback. It's got some guys who can do some things athletically. It's got some guys who can run good routes, get open, catch the ball, give you some problems. So I just think if Tennessee doesn't create havoc, I think it's going to be a hard time. So, of course, number 1 key to the game, score more points. Number 2, as always, you'd like to win the turnover battle. Number 3, 4, and 5, which really are 1, 2, and 3, are what I just mentioned. If I were to rank them in importance of order, I would say defensive havoc is number 1. I would say starting fast is number 2. And I would say stretching the field to find somebody who can do some of the things Brazel does, that would help tremendously. And if Tennessee can answer at least 2 of those 3 questions pretty well, I think Tennessee wins this football game. Now, unlike Elijah and Emilie, I don't have it as quite that.
It's not going to be like a rock'em sock'em.
Yeah, what did Elijah? I think Elijah said 112 to 94. Basically, is what he's.
No, we're going in like
I'm
NBA
kidding.
scores.
I'm kidding. He said I wrote it down. Elijah said 56-42. Tennessee. Emilie said 48-35. Tennessee. I think Vegas' prediction. Vegas has got the over/under at 62.5, and Tennessee is a 3-point favorite. So by my calculation, that means Vegas has it as a 33-30 Tennessee win. I think something in there is about right. I'm thinking a 34-28, 31-27, something in that range. And I actually, if you were to tell me right now, just gun to the head, who wins the game? I think Illinois maybe by a couple points. But again, I say that, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter because what matters? What game matters? What game mattered, Tom? Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt. That one mattered.
They need to be watching in the off season.
That one mattered. Watch it every day, every play.
Reminder.
Just, make Vanderbilt scented candles in the facility. Just put Diego Pavia's face everywhere. Put anchors on things. That's got to be, no matter what happens in this game today, that's what matters. That's what matters. But still, it's the last Tennessee game for 8 months. So, go out there and play well and see what you can do, right? It wouldn't be a bad thing to go win that game. So go do it. Thank you again to Emilie and Elijah for joining us today. Thank you to Tom for hitting the ones and twos and helping us break in more of our tremendous technology we have in this room. But thanks especially and mostly to y'all sitting there watching and y'all sitting there listening. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in, I guess, no later than 23 hours.